Hey everybody, and welcome to a bonus episode of Superheroes, Movies, and Superhero Movies. Thought we'd try something a little different today and actually record a commentary to our favorite film, Jurassic Park. So in order to listen to this episode, what you're going to want to do is you're going to actually want to watch Jurassic Park while you listen to us talk. And we're going to talk over, hopefully, most of, or all of the movie, which, is exactly what you want to do when you're watching a great movie like Jurassic Park, is to have two guys talk throughout the whole thing. Part of the reason that we kind of wanted to revisit Jurassic Park, because we actually already did an episode on Jurassic Park over a year ago or so, was because of the recently released Jurassic World trailer.
That's right. They were originally talking about rebooting the series.
Right.
But they didn't. They're going with I guess this is Jurassic Park 4?
Yeah. I mean, I believe from the description I've read, it takes place 20 years after the original movie. And I guess, whoever is in charge didn't learn the lesson of the first and second movie and decided to reopen the park. And from the look of the trailer, it's open.
Which I'm pretty excited about.
I think it'll be really interesting to see.
It's the first time that we've gone back and it's the park again.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of on the fence about the trailer I've seen, but it did bring some excitement, and I think it looks the most promising since the original. I don't think it's going to hold a candle to
the original.
Yeah. Right. But we'll see what happens.
What do you think about the whole, genetically engineered dinosaur?
I'm concerned about that.
I am too. I have a friend who was very against it. As soon as he saw the trailer, he was like, "There are so many dinosaurs to choose from that are cool. Why do you have to make up a new one?" And I feel like, I guess the reason is because, they want to do something that we obviously haven't seen before. And I don't know about you, but I really hated the Spinosaurus from Jurassic Park 3. They found, I think the Spinosaurus, actually existed. They kind of discovered it somewhere around the time those movies were coming out. Uh-huh. And so they decided to put it into part 3, and it was bigger and could take down the T-Rex and everything. But the T-Rex, especially when you're a kid, I was older when the third one came out, but the T-Rex holds such a special place, I think, in a little boy's heart.
Yeah, it's the king of the dinosaurs.
Yeah, you don't want to see some Spinosaurus take it down. So I think that's why they're kind of inventing a new dinosaur. But I'm really concerned about it. I'm a little worried it's going to be, it might be like Godzilla type thing or something.
I think it's going to be something to do with the T-Rex.
I hope it's not some sort of weird T-Rex Velociraptor.
That's what I've
hybrid.
Heard.
Yeah.
Which, that...
The giant T-Rex with a giant retracting claw or something.
I don't know. And then the last scene where the guy's on the motorcycle.
Yeah.
And the Velociraptors are around him. Apparently, those Velociraptors have been bred to protect humans. And they're actually protecting him.
Oh, that's weird.
Yeah.
I don't like that at all.
Yeah.
I thought what was happening was, even though Chris Pratt doesn't look nearly scared enough in the shot, what I thought was happening was they were both running away from something, I'm assuming it was the hybrid dinosaur, and it was something scary enough that the Velociraptors were just completely ignoring the human and fleeing for their lives.
I would like that better. Let's hope that's what it is.
I hope that's what it is, because that whole protecting humans thing sounds terrible.
But that's what I heard, and you've got the genetically engineered dinosaur, so it would not surprise me if they have gone and made these Velociraptors kind of like guard dogs in this park.
Yeah. Well, I guess we'll find out. When does it come out? May? July? June? July. I think it's July.
July.
So I guess we'll find out in 7 months. All right. So we've never done a commentary before. So this will be kind of interesting, and hopefully we'll make it interesting enough for you guys to want to listen. Hopefully we talked enough about Jurassic World just now for you to grab your copy of Jurassic Park and cue it up. Basically, where we're going to start the movie so that you guys can kind of start it exactly with us is go ahead and hit play. And once the Universal logo has faded to black, pause it. That's where we've paused it. And so when I say hit play, we're going to hit play hopefully at the same time, and you guys will be synced up completely with us watching the film.
Sounds good.
All right. Here we go. And hit play now.
Universal Pictures Presents is up.
We talked about this, obviously, in the original podcast episode of Jurassic Park, but I missed this section when I saw it the very first time.
This is one of my favorite intros to any movie ever.
And it's all because of John Williams.
Yes.
John Williams' score is perfect.
The black, you've got just the music he uses there with the flute just brings chills to me every time. I remember seeing that in the theater.
Mm-hmm. This is, I love the lighting in this scene, too.
The blue.
Yeah, and just kind of how the fog and, like, you almost kind of see, like, the
Steven
rays of light.
Spielberg right here, zooming up on Robert Muldoon.
The cinematographer for this movie is Dean Cundey, I'm assuming. How did you say his name? Dean Cundey? I don't know, actually. Mm-hmm. But he did the original Halloween.
Really?
Yep. Cinematographer for that, amongst many other things.
Great movie.
Yeah. But after this movie, Steven Spielberg met and worked with Janusz Kaminski on Schindler's List. Mm-hmm. And Janusz Kaminski has been his cinematographer ever since.
Nice.
So, pretty interesting there.
So I remember, I might have been walking into this the first time I saw this in theaters, too. Like I said, I saw this 7 times in the theater.
Wow.
But I remember this scene, and I was 7 years old, and I don't remember if the trailers showed dinosaurs.
It might have been glimpses of it. To be honest, I don't really remember. I think they did show glimpses of dinosaurs, and I think they showed the T-Rex at least roaring. Mm-hmm. But this scene is designed to kind of be a little scary.
It's terrifying,
especially when you're as young as we were when we saw it.
And no one had seen anything like this before.
I think I walked in because we were late. My brothers went to go get popcorn, and I was trying to see. And I think I walked in right here. And so I was like, I'm going to see if the movie started. And this is what I see. I see this guy getting eaten, essentially, by a velociraptor. And then I was terrified. I was like, I don't know if I want to see this movie now.
I'm with you. I was not really allowed to watch violent movies at that age. Uh-huh. And I was very concerned about what they were going to show.
Oh, yeah. I hate to admit it, but the first time I saw this movie, when I knew that something kind of scary was about to happen, I was wearing a baseball hat, and I would pull it down over my eyes. And I remember asking my brother after the movie was over, I was like, how bad was it? My brother was like, oh, it was like not bad at all. And so the second time I went and saw the movie, I made myself keep like my eyes open, and I was like, oh, it's a piece of cake. Yeah. Like, I didn't have anything to really be scared about. But then, here's what's interesting is I walked out of the theater after that scene. He was like, shoot, and I left the theater to go meet back up with my brother, thinking to myself, I may have made a huge mistake. And so I actually missed all of this scene the first time I saw the movie. Uh-huh. So this has always, for some weird reason, felt like a deleted scene to me.
Oh, that's crazy.
Because I never saw it the first time I saw the movie.
Now, this was kind of like, we're getting into the facts of the movie here.
Right.
And we're leaving the dinosaurs. So I'm just waiting for the dinosaurs at this point.
Oh, well, yeah. When you're a kid, that's all you're...
Yeah.
It takes forever to see a dinosaur in this movie, but it's still really exciting.
Yeah, it is. They don't drag it out too much. And it's the anticipation.
Right, exactly.
That just keeps you going.
Mm-hmm. This guy does a great job as like a creepy... Not creepy, but like a... I don't know, not evil lawyer.
The lawyer?
Yeah, but he's like a...
Yeah, he's
slimy lawyer.
He is.
Yeah. And I love seeing him like trip on the rocks out there, like he's completely out of his element.
He deserves it.
Yeah.
Yeah, very confusing to me, this scene, as a kid.
Yeah.
The amber. And I'm like, why do they care? Like, first you're like, oh, what's he so excited about? And then they zoom in and you see the mosquito, and as a kid I'm like, dinosaurs.
Right, where are the dinosaurs?
I don't care about a mosquito.
I think I had a hard time too connecting as a child that these guys worked for Hammond. Like they worked for Jurassic Park.
Yeah.
I thought it was very strange. It was a weird scene to me. I didn't really understand why the lawyer was talking to this guy.
Right. Then you get this part, another tease.
Yeah.
We get dinosaurs, but they're dead. Dead dinosaurs.
When you're a kid too, this looks like the most fun job, I think.
I wanted to do this.
I would take paintbrushes out into my backyard and I would just brush away dirt and pretend that I was finding dinosaurs in the yard. I wonder how true to obviously they have to find the fossil first, but once they find the fossil, I wonder if they do that with brushes, if they brush away all the dirt from the bone to try to...
Back then they probably did.
Yeah.
I don't know why they would have put this in the movie if they... Pretty sure this was all pretty accurate for the time. Shooting the bullet into the ground.
Mm-hmm. I always thought that was a weird contraption.
Mm-hmm.
And then here's 1993 computers, which is pretty great. It's like a TV monitor with a cardboard box over it. I love how he just basically, I don't know what he was looking at before, because he just turned the monitor on there. He was like, and now it's on.
True, I never thought about that. Another couple years, we won't have to dig anymore. Talking about how great the technology is.
Mm-hmm.
This part's great.
It's pretty great how they were able to, either it was a video that was timed so that he was touching it just correctly, or somebody off screen was able to mess with it right when he touched it.
Yeah.
But it's kind of neat how they were able to do that.
I remember there was quite a few laughs in the theater when that happened.
Mm-hmm.
Now, this theory was pretty new. In fact,
At the time, yeah.
I had never even heard of the thought of dinosaurs being birds.
This kid, there were these videos that my parents had that were called McGee and Me. Have you ever heard of that? It was, I think they were sold in Christian bookstores and stuff. They were supposed to be, they all had they were shown in churches and stuff like that.
That sounds familiar.
McGee and Me. And it was this kid who had an animated friend. One of them, they went to Double Dare on Nickelodeon. There was a Double Dare McGee and Me tape. But this kid used to be on those McGee and Me. So every time I see this scene, I always think about McGee and Me, which is weird.
Interesting.
Google it. McGee and Me.
He reminds me of me when I was in middle school.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Did you talk to paleontologists that way?
No, yeah.
Looks like a 6-foot turkey.
The sound effect.
It goes,
Yep.
here. I love how he's just scaring the crap out of this kid. Kid's gonna have nightmares.
They're alive. You're alive when they start to eat you.
Alan Grant's a cool character.
He's great.
Doesn't like kids, just likes dinosaurs, which is kind of funny because I wouldn't be surprised if Alan Grant, started his love for dinosaurs when he was a kid, like most kids do. And it obviously kind of stuck around with him as an adult.
In fact, he says that later on in the movie. Yeah, the Triceratops was his favorite as a kid.
Yep. It still is, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and so he's got this childlike kind of love for these animals, but he hates children, which I think is kind of interesting. Which I guess I understand.
And his reason is that they smell.
Yeah, babies smell.
Here comes Dr. Hammond.
I never understood when I was a kid. Again, didn't really grasp that they were brushing away the dirt. And so I was like, why are they so mad at the helicopter? Like, it's just landing.
I was same thing.
We were apparently dumb kids.
Yeah.
Those pants are dirty now. Got to rewash them.
Hey, we were saving that for today, I guarantee.
Richard Attenborough just passed away not too long ago. I can't remember how old he was. He's pretty old. 90s, I think, somewhere in his 90s.
I mean, he's old in here.
Yeah. He, I don't know if he met Spielberg in the 80s, but E.T. was up against Gandhi for Best Picture in 1982. Spielberg, of course, directed E.T. Richard Attenborough directed Gandhi.
I did not know that.
Yeah. And according to Richard Attenborough, after Gandhi won, he said that E.T. should have won. And so I don't know if, because of that or whatever, he and Spielberg, I guess, probably sparked some sort of friendship. And 10 years later, he decided to put him in Jurassic Park.
Perfect.
Yeah. Yeah, Richard Attenborough was a director, probably even maybe more so than he was an actor. I think he was an actor in his younger years. He, as a movie he was in with Jimmy Stewart called Flight of the Phoenix, which they remade about 10 years ago. But he directed a good bit. He directed, he was, I guess he did both. He was an actor. He was Santa Claus in Miracle on 34th Street and stuff.
That's the other movie that I remember.
Right. But he directed, trying to think of some of the other movies he directed. Gandhi is obviously the biggest one. I'm going to have to look it up. Started talking about him directing stuff and I can't think of what it is. I've always wondered, too, what a paleobotanist does. She studies extinct plants. Mm-hmm. And I always thought that was kind of...
There's a scene that I remember seeing in the theater, actually, that they showed of her... there was a greenhouse or something, I think, that they went through. Do you remember that?
I remember... I didn't see it in the theater, but I think when it first came on TV... Because they used to do this a lot back in the day. If they needed to shorten or lengthen, is that right? The movie, due to commercials, they would sometimes add in deleted scenes. And there's a scene where before they see the Brontosaurus for the first time, or the Brachiosaurus, they're driving to before he says, "Welcome to Jurassic Park" and all that. Ellie is hanging out the car, and she grabs a elephant ear type plant leaf. And she's looking at it, and she's like, "This isn't supposed to be here. This is extinct." And that part is actually still in the movie.
Right.
She's still looking at the leaf.
Right.
But I don't remember the greenhouse scene.
Yeah. I think it was only in there the first time, the first viewing. And then when I went back and watched it the second time in the theater, it wasn't there.
Strange.
Yeah.
That happened to me with Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2. I swear there was a scene when I saw it in the theater with... Do you remember what the two mutants' names were? Razor and something or other.
Yeah, Toka
and Razor.
Yeah.
There was a scene that I completely remember seeing in the theater where one of them tries to jump down a manhole manhole into the sewer and gets stuck.
Yeah, no, that happens.
Does it happen in the movie?
Yeah.
Okay, there's something else then that I remember seeing in the theater that's not in the movie.
Oh, this scene's so great.
Chaplin is another movie that Richard Attenborough directed.
Nice. I watched that not too long ago again.
Yeah.
I saw it in the theater. Chaplin.
Yeah. I think those are... To me, I think Gandhi and Chaplin would be his biggest, but he also did A Bridge Too Far, which was, I think, pretty big in the 70s, and A Chorus Line. The last movie he did was called Closing the Ring, which I'd never even heard of, to be honest with you. But I thought he was more of a director than an actor, but he's got 79 acting credits
13.
and only 13 directing credits, so I was wrong about that. Wayne Knight plays Dennis Nedry.
Yeah.
He is from Georgia.
Really?
Yeah. I don't know exactly where from Georgia, but he went to GHP, which is the Georgia's Governor's Honors Program.
That sound he just made always reminded me of the Velociraptor.
Yeah. It'd be funny if he was
He did the sound effect for it.
This I always thought was funny because it looks perfect. He like puts it on that pie like perfect whipped cream. I always thought that was great. And I always felt bad for the person who was going to eat that pie and get shaving cream on the top of their pie.
Don't get cheap on me, Dodds.
When you're a kid, you really do watch this music. This music is like one of the best parts of the movie.
Mm-hmm. You're gearing up.
The flight,
you're getting closer.
the flight to Jurassic Park. No, when you're a kid, you really are watching this movie for the dinosaurs. You really don't care about anything else. And so I remember as a kid, I was like, "Why? Who's Dodson? Why is he here?
Yeah.
Why do we never see him again? What does it matter?" It didn't. It's obviously not until later, or the more time you watch it as a kid, that it clicks that Nedry is stealing these embryos and stuff for another company.
But here you meet Dr. Malcolm.
The great Ian Malcolm.
Yes.
Played by Jeff Goldblum.
You can already tell here that Dr. Grant is not too impressed with him.
Yeah. Well, you could just looking at them, the costume design is actually pretty good too. It's like they're all different kind of classes almost.
They are. You can tell who's who just by looking at their clothes.
You wouldn't really think that he's a scientist based on his clothing.
And that's what makes... Right, but neither is his personality.
Right,
so it fits him.
Mm-hmm. You bring a rock star. Here we go. This music.
And that shot.
Yeah.
Just the island that they picked is just... This is true movie magic right here.
Yeah. I remember even this scene, especially because of the music probably, was really, it captured my attention. It really had me, I wouldn't say on the edge of my seat, but it's like I was in the movie at this point already. And there's not even a single dinosaur in that shot. It's just like the great, cinematography and music and everything. Schindler's List won, Best Picture that year, which was also a Spielberg film. Mm-hmm. But I really feel like, even though Schindler's List does have great music and everything, I can't, I almost wish Schindler's List had come out maybe a year later or something, because I don't know. I doubt this would have won Best Score, but you never know. I mean, I think the music in this movie is just about perfect.
Yeah.
I always like the face he makes here.
Yeah, and he nods, doesn't
he? He's like, check that out. I'm a genius.
Man.
I always wanted one of these Jeeps, too.
Oh, yeah.
Did you have the toy of that Jeep?
I didn't have any Jurassic Park toys.
None?
None. But I remember watching the commercials.
Oh, man. I had that Jeep. I had the green Jeep.
I'm
surprised they didn't make the helicopter, honestly.
Right. It would have been green and red
Probably.
and yellow.
And what's great is each vehicle, too, had dino damage or whatever.
Right.
So, I
remember... the dinosaurs did, too.
Yeah. You could, take a piece of their, flesh off.
Yeah.
So it would have had something, where the tail came off or something,
Dinosaur teeth marks.
Yeah. The red Jeep, I remember the windshield broke off, which I think was supposed to be because that's the type of Jeep that they're driving when Ellie and Muldoon pick up Malcolm and they're getting away from the T-Rex. I don't remember what the green one did. I think the hood of the car came off or something like that.
So what's awesome about that part is these people, they haven't come up to the gate yet, but they're going through these gigantic electric fences.
Yeah.
They have no idea what they're coming upon.
What? They're not really paying attention to it seems like. And like I said, this is the scene where they cut something out with Ellie reaching out and grabbing an extinct plant.
Right.
But I like these guys, the drivers. Who applied to Jurassic Park Inc. or whatever and was like, you need a driver for an island? I'll do it.
I'll do it.
So these guys, the drivers already know about the dinosaurs and everything. It's no big deal to them, which I think is great. But yeah, those Jeeps are awesome. And I used to have one of those hats, dude.
Nice.
Yeah.
Here we go.
Man, I wish I still had that hat. This is a great. It's subtle, but I think it's like a great performance from Sam Neill.
It's perfect. Right here, his eyes.
And the way he has a hard time kind of getting his glasses off. But see, now she's holding a leaf that doesn't make any sense. I almost wish they had left that scene in just for that, but whatever. The Brachiosaurus.
Yep. I love how the audience gets to see the dinosaur for the first time with the characters.
Yeah. The character is... Spielberg teases it almost as long as he possibly can because the characters actually get to see it before we do.
Yes.
You know, they're amazed, and so it's like, we're just like, show us.
Yeah.
So finally he does. And this is one spot where I'd say the special effects are noticeable.
Yes.
Because the Brachiosaurus doesn't look quite as good as it probably did 20 years ago, but it still doesn't look bad.
It doesn't look bad. I mean, this was 1993.
This was, 21 years ago. This was really like one of the first movies to do CGI, and it still looks better than some movies that come out today.
Mm. Yeah, I mean, you can see the detail of, the wrinkles and the flesh and everything.
Mm-hmm.
Establishing his character even more.
I love his laugh thing.
Yeah.
Jeff Goldblum. I can't imagine any other actors playing any of these parts.
No. Absolutely not.
It would have been a completely different movie had Jeff Goldblum said no to Jurassic Park.
Now, I always wondered if he was not Sam Neill, but Alan Grant. Was he really feeling faint, or was he just putting on that show?
I think
partially for. You think he was?
Absolutely. I think he was really feeling faint. I mean, this is a dream come true for him.
Mm.
He's been, studying dinosaurs and thinking about dinosaurs ever since he was a kid. And all of a sudden, here he is, and they're alive right in front of him. He's looking right at him.
Yeah, this moment, he's
I'm surprised he's not crying, to be honest with you.
He is.
He kind of is, yeah. Yeah, you're right. His eyes are kind of watery. So I do definitely think that they I mean, he just saw a Brachiosaurus. That's more than he ever expected. And then to hear that there's a T-Rex on the island, I think he was like, oh my God, he's about to have a heart attack. I'll show you.
Now, but that was a worried
faint?
Yes.
No, I think that was an overwhelming, oh my goodness, I'm going to get to see a T-Rex.
Oh, really?
That's what I've always thought.
Gotcha. See, I guess as a kid, for me, I was since the movie goes on and you see what happens, I always thought of him going, "Oh my God, what's going to happen?"
Well, I do think in the back of his brain, he is. I think during this conversation they have at the dinner table, he does kind of think that. But I think in the moment, just then, he's like, he's like,
right.
You have a T-Rex.
Gotcha.
He's really excited about it. I love.
He's like, that's the T-Rex.
He's like, well, I've seen one of those. Come on. No, if you've ever been to Universal Studios in Orlando, it's actually Islands of Adventure, I guess. They do a pretty decent job of kind of recreating this welcome center. It's one of the things that I kind of miss. Now that I live in California, Universal Studios still has the Jurassic Park ride, and it's fun and everything. But there's a lot more to it at the one in Orlando, and the welcome center is also kind of a restaurant and a gift shop and everything. But they have that T-Rex there, and they have the stairs. You can go downstairs, and you can see a fake little raptor being born and stuff.
That's right. Yeah.
It's pretty cool. It's one of it's obviously designed geared towards little kids, but it was one of my favorite things about the Orlando Universal Studios because of just how much of a Jurassic Park lover I am.
Mm-hmm. So now I think we're getting more back into a tease. Spielberg gave you the dinosaurs, but
he gave you all the herbivores.
Yeah, we still haven't really been fed right. What
we want to see a T-Rex.
Yeah.
I think I guess you have to give some credit to Michael Crichton and David Koepp, who wrote the script. But I think they did a really great job with it. Rather than making the T-Rex one of the last dinosaurs we see, he comes about halfway through the movie, and then kind of pops up here and there, kind of like Jaws or something in Jaws, or the shark in Jaws. And then the Velociraptors are kind of introduced and everything, and like we see how dangerous and scary they are. So I thought, in terms of kind of which dinosaur you see and when, they did like a perfect job with revealing everything.
Yeah, I agree completely.
I thought this was a really interesting idea. I mean, it
was entertaining to watch as a kid.
This part, the animated part,
yeah,
it was. And I wonder whose idea, because I don't think it was this way in the book. It's been a while since I've read the book, and there are a lot of differences from the book and the movie. But I don't think it was presented to them as a cartoon exhibit ride type thing, and I think that was. It's a great way to give the audience the exposition that you need to know how they recreated these dinosaurs and everything, rather than just having some scientist or somebody sit there and tell them. So.
Yeah, they literally put it's the video in the movie.
Right. It's pretty great. I like the lighting in this scene too, with the projector light behind them. Mm-hmm. So there's a lot of like backlight to them.
And you see these scientists now just eating this up. They're like, that's how they did it.
In the Orlando Universal Studios, too, the guys who walk around on the bottom floor of that Welcome Center have Mr. DNA on the back of their like lab coats and stuff. Yeah, that's pretty cool. Look at that virtual reality.
High tech.
Cold.
That part was always... I always thought he was saying cold. And I thought he was saying he had a cold.
Oh.
And then he was like sneezing.
You're like, this is crazy. Just show me the T-Rex already. Boom, 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 boom. This is all very temporary. This is pretty cool. This made me want to go to Jurassic Park. I wanted to go ride this ride and see these people. That's a joke that went over my head as a kid, obviously. Autoerotica. I like how they completely disregard John Hammond, and they're like, we're stopping this ride. But Ian Malcolm's all for it.
He is.
And that's, he's got to be. He's the chaotician, right?
I liked how John Hammond...
his just came out. Yeah. It was. I guess maybe it was because they pushed theirs up. I don't know why that... I wondered about that, too. There's a character coming up right there. B.D. Wong is the actor. And I don't know if he's going to be in Jurassic World, but he was part of a teaser video that they put out, like kind of a viral video.
Oh, really?
For Jurassic World, yeah. So I wouldn't be surprised if he's got something to do with the next movie.
That'd be kind of cool.
Yeah. Like he took the research and decided to kind of continue it or something.
This part was pretty gross as a kid.
It was gross. And I think I read somewhere that it's also wouldn't be... like a dinosaur hatching out of an egg wouldn't be bloody like that. I think, I've never seen a bird hatch out of an egg, but I'm assuming it's not bloody. And so... And even like reptiles who lay eggs and stuff, I don't think they're bloody. So it was like they did not... They didn't know why they decided to make it like bloody coming out of it like that. But it was kind of always gross. I always thought it was also really impressive animatronics too, though.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, this looks real.
And maybe they put like blood on it and stuff to kind of cover up the fact that it was... I don't know, maybe it looked too fake without it.
Yeah.
That'd be my guess. little velociraptor. Makes you want one as a pet, doesn't it?
You just want to cuddle with it.
Yeah. Take it to show and tell. I always thought this was funny.
Yeah.
No touching, please.
Let's put that right back there, thanks. How he turns around, that's the best part. He shuns him, gives him the cold shoulder.
I love this little rant that he goes on. Doesn't he? No, it's at the dinner table and he slams the table.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
But this is the beginning of it.
Yeah.
This is where...
Well, there you have it.
They're like, thanks, okay. Actually, that is what you said.
Life finds a way.
See, this is another scene where I was like, he's scared.
Yeah, this one I do think he is kind of...
Yeah. This is where he's like, okay, wait a minute.
Yeah,
This
maybe you've
might
taken
not
it
be
too
a
far.
good idea.
Yeah. I think, the T-Rex was like he was overwhelmed and kind of, in awe of the whole thing. But once he realized they were making velociraptors, he was like, you may have made a mistake here.
Mm-hmm.
I always thought this was cool as a kid that it comes up all mangled, but there's absolutely no blood.
Yeah. I appreciated that at 7 years old.
Well, that's true, yeah. It's another kind of cool, like Spielberg, I guess, knows when to use blood and when not to. Like the leg of the sheep or the lamb or whatever it was that the T-Rex eats, there's some blood on that, which is obviously makes sense. Mm-hmm. But maybe, again, they thought perhaps it was going too far to have pieces of cow hanging off the thing or something. All you need to see is that it was mangled. It makes enough sense. Great shots right here through the grass or through the. I guess it'd be tall.
I assume they can
plants.
Clearly see what's going on.
I think they can, and I think that's why Dr. Sattler is so grossed out.
Yes. Robert Muldoon,
played by Bob Peck,
who is also deceased.
He is, unfortunately. And this is honestly the only movie I've ever seen him in.
Me too.
He was, I don't know, I guess he was a British actor? Or
I thought he was Australian.
He might have been. I'll look it up. But he primarily did movies in his, native country and never really did any U.S. movies other than this one. That I know of, anyway. He passed away back in 1999 at the young age of 53. British actor. North England, yep.
I think he's supposed to be Australian.
I wouldn't be surprised. He kind of has that Australian outback kind of...
Yeah, like Crocodile Dundee.
Yeah. Well, he did a couple of U.S. movies, I guess. They're just ones I never saw. Surviving Picasso with Anthony Hopkins, Smilla's Sense of Snow, The Young Indiana Jones Chronicles. That's interesting. But, yeah, as far as I know, this is the only movie I've ever seen him in. And then he unfortunately died 6 years later.
Jurassic Park plates.
Man, I wish I had that. But she definitely saw the velociraptors eating because she's grossed out by the food. I wonder whose idea it was to have a slideshow behind all the actors. I imagine that had to be somewhat of a continuity nightmare when you're editing the scene. Because you got to make sure all the slides are correct, going from like wide shot to close up and stuff. I guess when you're going from close up to close up, it doesn't matter because you can't really see. If we're looking at the lawyer and then they cut to John Hammond like they just did, you can't really see the slide behind John Hammond. But I do like the weird spotlights behind the actors.
Yeah,
it's something that I don't know. I wonder now that we're watching it and I've seen it now 2 or 3 times so far, these backlights. I wonder if it's kind of a lighting theme throughout the film. We'll have to see how often there's like backlighting throughout Jurassic Park now that we're watching it. This was probably a scene as a kid that I wanted to fast forward through just to get to the T-Rex, you know?
Right.
People talking at dinner, who cares?
Right. It's amazing how quickly they changed their mind. I mean, it's not because it makes sense when you hear what they have to say, but I mean, these guys are scared out of their mind now.
Yeah, and it's really, I bet, I wouldn't be surprised if Alan Grant especially feels very conflicted about it, because on one hand, he just got to see live dinosaurs, and how awesome is that? And yeah, everybody would love to see, he just did the pounding on the table, which I love. Everybody would love to see live dinosaurs, especially think about all the kids. I mean, like, think about all the people in the Jurassic World trailer who are at Jurassic World. Right. Like, all those people would love to see dinosaurs. Yeah. I would love to see a live dinosaur from a far distance. Right. But he knows the danger of it. And so he can't deny that it's probably not a good idea. And John Hammond thinks that he can contain it.
Yeah,
excuse me.
He's bringing this gift to the world.
Yeah,
and he's like, why can you guys just not accept? I've got control of this.
Yeah, and they're like, you don't realize the power that that the animals have.
I don't think it's so much the park that they're afraid of. I think it's what they know is going to happen in the future when this gets in the hands of other people.
Right.
And like he said, the way that they're marketing it, they're marketing it as if it's a toy, as if it's a innocent, harmless thing.
Right. Do you think that Alan Grant and Malcolm and Sattler would have okayed it had they only bred herbivores?
Yes.
Had it been nothing but Brachiosauruses and Triceratops and things like that?
Well, the question is, would they have been concerned about later breeding? The carnivores.
I think they would have maybe said okay to the park with herbivores only, but yeah, they would have had to have.
I think they would have
said something about the future of breeding, and who decides what species get to be, recreated and which ones don't.
Oh, they're here.
Alan Grant's favorite children. So, Joseph Mazzello, who plays Tim, is roughly our age. They made this movie probably in 92, and he was I think he was about our age. But when this movie came out, I had the biggest crush on Ariana Richards, who plays Lex. I thought she was great.
Yeah.
So I used to find a lot of her movies and watch them when I was that age. I found she was in Prancer, that Christmas movie about the reindeer.
Oh wow!
She was in this really stupid comedy called what was it? It was about these aliens who came to Earth. Oh man, what is it called? I'm gonna have to look it up again. But it was these like big-headed kind of green Martians, and one of them wore like a fighter pilot jacket and aviators like Top Gun, and one of them I think had like a Hawaiian shirt on. They were all like,
that's weird.
It was a really bizarre movie, but it was funny. Ariana Richards, let's see. She's now 35 years old.
Wow.
And the movie that I am thinking of is called, come on, Spaced Invaders. Yeah.
I've never heard of that movie.
Yeah, I used to watch it a lot when I was a kid.
Oh, I recognize the cover.
She also was in Tremors, and there was this movie that I really enjoyed that was like a made-for-TV movie called, it's on IMDb, it's called Grand Tour Disaster in Time, but I always knew it's called Disaster in Time. And it was Jeff Daniels was in it. He played Ariana Richards' dad. And he had just purchased like a small motel in this small town, and he was fixing it up. And these weird, like group of like 6 or 7 people who say they're like from out of town or whatever show up. And you find out later throughout the movie that they are time travelers who travel to certain periods just to watch disasters happen, basically. So, like, I can't remember. It's been a while since I've seen it, but something goes on in that town where, like, a bomb goes off or something, and so they're there to view it. And so Jeff Daniels somehow acquires the ability to time travel, and he, like, meets up with himself to save, like, his daughter from something. And it's, like, it's probably not that good, but I remember loving it when I was a kid. Disaster in Time. Samuel L. Jackson, whose character... what was his character's name? Do you remember his character's name?
Oh, you're going to have to give me a minute.
Arnold something. Mr. Arnold? Is it just Arnold?
Mr. Arnold.
Very exciting pod. Ray Arnold. So, yeah, I think she just calls him... Because I'm trying to remember when the arm falls on her. She goes, "Oh, Mr. Arnold."
Right.
I think she calls him Mr. Arnold. Always thought these Jeeps were amazing, the fact that they could drive themselves.
Oh, yeah.
I was a bit of a nerd when I was a kid, and I actually, even then, I kind of wanted to be an actor. And so I used to subscribe to Disney Adventures. By the way, this is like one of the best. Yeah.
Yeah.
The gate is so amazing.
I love that at Universal Studios.
Yep.
Getting to walk through that.
Yeah. And they have one in Hollywood, too, which is always, I think it's one of the coolest things. And the music is always playing over there. So I used to subscribe to Disney Adventures. And so I wrote to Disney Adventures asking if I could get Ariana Richards and Joseph Mazzello's address. And they said they obviously gave me their, like, talent agency address. But I wrote them, like, a fan letter. And Ariana Richards sent me back, like, I don't remember what you call it, like a stock letter thing, like, it was already written, and she just, like, or somebody just wrote in Justin at the top. So it said, like, "Dear," and it was a different pen. It was, like, Justin. So I was like, whatever. It was cool. She sent me, like, a little headshot, black and white headshot.
Nice.
But Joseph Mazzello, I think actually, I don't know if it was him or if it was somebody in his family or something, but actually hand-wrote a letter saying, because it took him a long time to reply, and he was like, "Sorry it took me so long to write back. I've been shooting this movie called The River Wild. Blah, 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 blah. Here's a picture of me." And it was an actual, like, photograph taken from, like, an actual camera rather than like a headshot or something, like a reproduction. So I just thought that was pretty cool that he actually, like I said, I don't know if it was actually him,
right?
But somebody spent the time to actually handwrite a little letter back to me, which I thought was pretty cool. Yeah.
So here we're getting the Jaws effect again. They have us in Jeeps. We're going on the tour, but there are no dinosaurs again. And we're just waiting.
We're getting teases of what's to come. Like, we see the Dilophosaurus, what do you call it, cage? It's not a cage, but, like, the area.
Yeah.
And but we don't see anything. But we know, because of that, we're eventually probably going to see a Dilophosaurus. Yeah, this would be frustrating if we were actually at the park. You paid however many thousands of dollars probably to fly out to Isla Nublar or whatever this is on, and take the tour, and you don't see any dinosaurs.
Right.
I'd be like, I want my money back.
I liked that little toy he had.
Yeah, the little stress reliever. Yeah. And he's making everything up right now, too. He's like, it's going to take some time, blah, 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 because he knows he's about to shut down everything. I always thought that looked so amazing.
No music.
Just silence.
And
the cars are driving so slowly.
Creeping up. You got the lights.
That's a great shot.
Yeah. Alan Grant trying to get a better view here.
You think a T-Rex, so big, he couldn't hide from you,
Yeah.
But obviously they gave it enough space to roam around in.
Yeah, I mean, I think this
hiding.
is quite a field.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure. And, I always thought was weird, is on the other side of the fence, obviously it drops down really far.
Right.
Supposedly. At least in one spot.
It does. Well, because the car falls.
Right.
Yeah.
Even though the T-Rex... It stands like a level with the bottom of the fence.
Yeah.
So it's like, I wonder if it's like a giant cliff in one area or something. It's always been one of the kind of things I thought was a little weird.
Yeah, I think it's a mistake.
But it's a mistake I can accept.
I can totally accept it.
Because there's the ground right there.
Yeah.
Yeah, so where do they fall? We're going to have to really pay attention to this. I happen to be a vegetarian. Or something like that.
Mm-hmm. What's the matter, Katie? Never had lamb chops? You can see the lawyer is holding his breath. He
wants to see a T-Rex eat that lamb or whatever. What is that, a goat? A goat, my bad. Now and Grant letting us, the audience, know that T-Rex doesn't want to be fed.
I liked how the goat just kind of
chilling I'm just going to lay down now. Can't go anywhere.
They're like lame.
Little continuity issue here. There's some water on the windows, which I always thought was weird.
Yeah.
It's about to rain, but apparently it actually did rain on set that day, I'm guessing. This is one of the best lines in the movie. Yeah. Hello? His response is great. And he loves it. He knows he's just messing with him, too. He's like, this is great.
Oh, he's such a... Oh, he just plays his part so awesome.
Yeah. He's one of those characters... He's a great character, but he's not necessarily a character I'd want to be friends with.
No, yeah. That's I think I mentioned that in the podcast. I'm like, I think one of the reasons you can like Malcolm so much is because...
You don't actually have to deal with him.
You don't have to interact with him.
Yeah.
You just get to observe.
And I love how he blatantly is flirting with Dr. Sadler here in front of Alan Grant. And anybody would assume that these two are together. But he's not caring. He spots a Jeep. I don't know why I said that. People are watching the movie. They can see he spotted the Jeep.
Sadler... clearly has no idea what's going on here with...
Well, on one hand, he is explaining...
Right.
Chaos theory or some sort of... Something.
Here we go.
But right there, yeah.
She's like, oblivious. Look at this.
He probably does, he probably gives this same test or whatever you want to call it in bars and things like that. Yep. Yeah. Christmas parties.
And here I am talking.
It's great.
Love it.
He's like proving his own point to nobody. Yeah, that's kind of an oversight. You should really lock those doors.
Yeah.
You should not let people be able to just get out and wander into a T-Rex paddock or something.
I do like how they threw in little lines like that though about how the employees of the park are throwing out ideas that we've been working on this park, and I've tried to tell you guys this. There's little things that give the inside,
behind the scenes kind of.
Yeah.
And this park is still, I would say, probably pretty far from open still.
Oh, yeah.
They're just kind of doing a test run. They obviously need these people to sign off, otherwise funding is going to stop, I think was the whole point. So, yeah, it's not...
But honestly, no. In real life, funding would not have stopped for this park. They would have gone through with it.
Yeah, who's giving money and like, oh, you recreated dinosaurs? I don't know. Maybe you should get an opinion from a paleontologist.
We want it to be safe.
This is a great reveal of the Triceratops. I love that low shot behind Tim's legs.
And I still consider this a tease. Because it's a sick dinosaur.
It's not a moving dinosaur, right? But this is another great... Man, I really wish I could have been on set to see this like in person, because that animatronic is so good.
It's amazing.
It has to be the closest thing to seeing like a real dinosaur, you know, in real life.
Even the eyes.
Yep. And the tongue and everything.
Yeah.
And the way it moves its legs and the breathing. Like, it's just... That's something I miss from movies these days. Because if Jurassic Park had been made now, and it's something that I kind of hope they are doing with Jurassic World, but I really don't see it happening, is this scene would have been CGI.
Yep. This
would have been a CGI Triceratops, and I love the fact that it's a practical effect. I mean, like I said, that's like the closest thing to an actual dinosaur that we're probably going to, ever see.
Yeah.
And it looks beautiful.
Love that part.
Yeah, I do too. It would have been fun to been able to. It would have been fun to play Alan Grant. I think to have that.
Anyone,
anybody, anybody, absolutely. I would have played that guy. But just to be a part of Jurassic Park, I think would have been so much fun. And we're almost an hour into the movie, and no T-Rex yet.
No T-Rex.
No T-Rex.
It's coming.
But like you said, like he's giving us enough dinosaurs here and there to hold us over.
Yeah.
Like the Triceratops. When you saw that Triceratops for the first time as a kid, you were like, oh.
Right. But not to the point where
you're satisfied.
When the real reveal comes, it's almost as if it's the first dinosaur you've seen.
Right. This was a year before Samuel L. Jackson did Pulp Fiction, which is the movie that really shot him into stardom, because that got him an Academy Award nomination and everything. So he was still pretty much... I mean, he had been working for a long time, but he was still kind of either a that guy actor or kind of an unknown. To me, he was an unknown, but that's because I was 7 years old. Or not, I was older than that. I was 9 years old.
Yeah, I said it was 7 earlier. I think it was 8.
Yeah. You will remember to wash your hands
before you eat anything.
Yeah, I like that line too. Ian Malcolm has definitely probably some of the best lines in the movie.
He's a tall guy.
He is tall.
Dennis.
Would you say, and granted, like I said, I don't think I'd seen any of these actors, honestly, before seeing this movie as a kid. So would you say this movie furthered Jeff Goldblum's career? I mean, he was already a decent star at that point. But then after this, he did Independence Day, and he did Lost World, which is this movie.
Yeah, sequel, I think so, definitely. This he was well remembered in this movie.
Yeah. Storms are coming.
Oh. Uh-oh. Sadler's going to stay.
I wonder... You never know with, even with herbivores. Like, that Triceratops, if that thing came running towards a Jeep full of tourists, that would be terrifying.
They'd be done.
Yeah. Park would be shut down. Triceratops killed, 18 tourists. Pretty sure that's just a video being played. I think that's one of those continuity or little errors that the movie has.
Yeah,
it's not a live feed.
I love how his cane has the
amber.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I want one of those coats with Jurassic Park.
Yeah.
Wonder how many cigarettes Samuel L. Jackson had to smoke
Tons.
throughout the filming of Jurassic Park.
It's in all.
Every shot he's in, he's got a cigarette in his mouth.
I love how they've got the sweat on his forehead too. If you notice on Dennis, I mean he is.
Yeah,
he's nervous.
He's nervous. Yeah, and he's under pressure. Yeah. This was the first movie I ever saw him in, but he obviously, very shortly after this, or maybe even during this, was on Seinfeld, and I remember seeing him a lot on Seinfeld and everything.
I'm pretty sure he was already on Seinfeld when this came out.
One of his kids is in the sequel.
That's
Remember?
right.
I wonder if that is, I'm assuming, one of the three that he's referring to.
I assume so. Now, do you know, was The Lost World written when this movie came out?
It was not. And I thought, Michael Crichton might have had the idea for a part 2 when he wrote this book, or when he finished this book. But I was always under the impression that the studio wanted a part 2 and asked... I don't know, to be honest with you, because I don't know why a studio doesn't need a book to be written to have a part 2.
True.
Because, Jurassic Park 3 came out, and there was no book based on that. So I don't know if it was... If if they were like, we want a part 2, and he's like, well, I'm working on a sequel, and they let him finish it. Because from what I actually have never read The Lost World, and from what I've heard, it is nothing like the book. So I really, I have no idea. But I remember The Lost World came out fairly shortly after the movie came out.
Okay.
And then the movie came out in 97. But the whole, the T-Rex going to San Diego and stuff in the second one, that doesn't happen in the book.
Interesting.
So I think maybe one of the only similarities between the book and the movie is that there was a separate island where they would breed dinosaurs before bringing them over to Jurassic Park, which I always thought was kind of an interesting idea. And then Jurassic Park 3, they come back to this island.
Right.
And it's all torn down and everything because all the dinosaurs are pretty much just taken over.
Yeah, it was abandoned.
Yeah. The Velociraptors, I remember, looked weird in the third one, too. Do you remember that?
Yeah, they did look different. Did they have feathers in the third one?
They kind of did. They had, weird, feathers coming off their head or something like that.
I like how in Jurassic World they've stayed away from that.
Yeah, they went back to, the original design, which is nice, yeah. You don't see a T-Rex in the Jurassic World trailer. You see that interesting underwater dinosaur that eats the shark, and you see the velociraptors and stuff, but you don't actually see... I guess there's no T-Rex or anything, at least in the preview.
I would assume there's going to be a T-Rex.
I hope there's a T-Rex. Yeah, there's got to be a T-Rex. I just hope they don't screw it up with that.
Right,
genetic.
The T-Rex might be the genetic dinosaur.
Because you remember a long time ago, there was this whole thing about the dinosaurs were going to have guns for arms or something like that.
Oh, that's right.
I hope they don't. I hope they left that whole thing.
Yes. I love how he just shoves all the garbage in the floor.
It's interesting red lights in the background. I feel like that's supposed to be some sort of server type thing or something, but it's obviously just red flashing lights.
This music reminds me of Star Wars.
Yeah, it does kind of have a little bit of a Star Wars kind of feel to it. Yeah, I can hear that. I always felt bad for him there. I wore glasses as a kid, and I remember having that kind of happen.
You're right. I feel bad for him during this scene. Or at least as a kid. Maybe not so much today.
And now I don't really care. He deserves it. But, but as a kid, I remember thinking, that's got to be hard.
Yeah.
I guess as a kid, again, you're just not really understanding the whole, what's all happening. I always thought this was great.
It's perfect.
I hate this sack of crap. Just, it's interesting because Dennis Nedry was obviously going to go through this plan no matter what. Mm-hmm. It just happened to be on this weekend or whatever that Alan Grant and Ian Malcolm and John Hammond's kids are in town.
Right.
But it would have, obviously it's a more exciting movie that way for us. But I wonder, had it been a week earlier or something, or a week later, what would have happened? Like, how would all the dinosaurs have gotten out and stuff like that? I mean, obviously they might have, because they did. Like, nobody told the dinosaurs, "Hey, the power's off." They just kind of tried it and stuff. But I wonder how terrible it would have been, or if it had gone unnoticed. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah, you don't know. The T-Rex gets out because, well, let's see. I mean,
he just has his hand on the fence, like the little hand that they've got is like you see that shot of it like on the fence, and it like gets pulled off the fence. So it's I don't know how often the T-Rex tries the electric fence,
and why is he pulling down metal wires?
Yeah, I don't. Like I said, it's just nobody. The dinosaurs. Maybe the T-Rex is smart enough to know that when those flashing lights aren't on, that maybe he's not going to get electrocuted. But who knows? I always thought it was one of those jokes that like didn't T-Rexes have like brains like the size of a walnut or something like that?
Yeah. Here we go.
Quite possibly one of the coolest things
ever.
Yeah, the water. You know how they did that to get the ripples in the water just perfectly like that? I believe there was like a guitar or something underneath the dashboard or something like that, and he would just strum the strings, and it got like those perfect rings in it.
Huh.
Which is interesting because in the behind the scenes, that's how they said they did it. But there's a scene where you see a T-Rex footprint, and the water in the print does it.
Yeah.
And so I wonder how they got that shot.
Yeah. Nice touch, a bent pole.
A missing goat.
And then we have the leg.
Which has a little blood on it, but there's even more blood on this next shot.
Yeah, because it's
like dripping down. See, that's what I'm talking about. The hand coming off of the, I don't know what you call it. It's not a paw. It wouldn't be a T-Rex paw. I guess you just call it a hand.
Yeah.
Another great shot. There's a moment in this scene, there's some blood, where they had a lot of trouble with the T-Rex on set because of the rain, where he would start shaking a lot. And so they ended up having a lot of, it gave them a lot of trouble, and they would have to turn off all the rain, and then there would be, however many technicians blow-drying the T-Rex to, dry him up enough so that he wouldn't malfunction like that.
Yeah, that's crazy.
And there's one shot in the movie, I'll see if I can point it out to you, where you can see some of that shaky going on, that shakiness. But again, I love that they did a combination of practical effects and CG effects. Again, nowadays, this is a great CG effect. And nowadays, I just don't think they would have bothered to build the animatronic head and stuff like that.
Right.
And I'm so glad that they did. It just adds a layer to it.
It looks great. It looks just great.
And I love this shot right there, yeah. We're just kind of lit up by the Jeep's headlights.
I like how the camera... There really wasn't any camera motion done in movies at this time.
There wasn't, the whole idea of handheld.
Right.
And shaky cam
shaky cam
didn't really exist.
Yeah, but you can see it that Spielberg uses it to a small degree when the T-Rex.
Yeah,
walks.
there's some, and I don't know if that was done in post or if it was done on set, but there is some little bit of shakiness going like that. You do notice it in certain action movies. They will do that, like when punches are thrown and stuff. Sometimes they'll shake the camera, but it's not constant, like it wasn't like in the Bourne movies or something. You know,
right?
It's not something that is. And I'm thankful because in this movie, it's
right.
It would have
you wouldn't have noticed
when
you have that shaking with the T-Rex stepping it.
This I always thought was amazing. The fact that the pupils dilate.
Yeah,
like that is. How do they do that?
It could have been CG.
That could have been done in a computer. That's true. I always thought it was part of the animatronics or something, but.
This is definitely my favorite scene in the whole movie.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. This made the movie for me.
Yeah.
Just for the record, I did not have my eyes closed for any of this.
No.
I closed my eyes right before the... right here, you see him shake it a little bit.
See how he shakes? Oh, wow.
I had my eyes closed for when the lawyer got eaten. That's the part I closed my eyes for.
Gotcha. I did not.
But for all this, I had my eyes open. Well, I guess you were more brave than I was, even being a little younger than me.
I was scared to death, man. I was scared to death. Great Alan.
Great, close-up shot, yeah. This movie's edited really well, too, honestly. I always thought she did a great job. Like, that scream is like... she's
terrifying.
Yeah.
Yeah, and right here, I mean, I'm like, oh my goodness, that is just...
I don't envy those kids, yeah, that's for sure.
I remember
I love his reaction here. He's like, oh, man. Now, if you look really closely on the scene where the dinosaur breaks through...
Right there, I for the longest time did not know what he was saying.
Yeah, it's gibberish.
Yeah.
You'll notice, if you look at like the top of the screen, right as the dinosaur breaks through the hut right here, you actually see Malcolm get thrown off.
Yeah.
Which I never noticed. It took so long for me to actually see that. Yeah, it was right about here that I started to pull my hat over my eyes. I know he's about to get eaten.
I remember and there it is.
And it's actually one of the coolest shots in the movie. I love that scene. Actually.
I remember I was afraid the body was going to rip in half.
Yeah. Which they did in the second movie, if you remember that.
Yeah.
The two T-Rexes like split the guy in half, yeah.
I also think when I was a kid, I thought that was blood all over her.
Uh-huh.
I'd like to know where they got this information from.
Yeah, and I think it's one of those things that's not true, or at least, how do you know?
Right.
I don't know how...
I can't imagine that.
I think it was something done for the movie.
Yeah.
I don't even remember it. Did you read the book?
I read, I never finished it, but I read some of it.
I read it, and I don't remember it being part of the book either. I really think it was something that was introduced for the movie as a way for them to kind of be able to at least get away from the T-Rex and stuff.
And add to the suspense. I mean, they're just sitting there.
Yeah, they just have to stay still in front of this giant beast.
His hat gets blown off with the...
But you'd think, even if he can't see you, he could still smell you.
Right.
So, I mean... Okay, so here's where... See, this is where the wires came down. Like, this is where the T-Rex exited, but...
Look how... I mean, that's a drop.
It doesn't make sense. I think that is definitely an error in the movie. But, again, we'll accept it. Maybe the ground moves up and down throughout the day.
They have all this technology, They have virtual reality.
Maybe if they know a storm is coming, they're worried about flooding, and so the ground just goes down, like via an elevator or something. And
this part didn't bother me as a kid. It bothers me a little bit now.
Because you can see his leg almost get hit?
It's just that... the perfect timing moment of missing the.
That's a iconic shot of the T-Rex.
Yeah.
There. Yeah, it's never really bothered me. It's kind of one of those, things.
Right.
He's pretty perfect in that role, too. With the cigarette in his mouth and giving all that dialogue the way he can.
Yeah.
About 2 million.
Good call having the in the background.
Yeah. Without Dennis Nedry. Cut to Dennis Nedry, who is very lost. I guess they didn't. From the look of it, they don't have paved roads on this island,
Right.
so I imagine, especially in a storm like this, it would be very difficult to navigate. I'll give you another example of how stupid I was as a kid. Coming up here, he decides to tie his cable to a tree.
Oh, yeah.
Did I tell you this?
Yeah, in the podcast. You mentioned it.
If you look at it, it looks kind of like the back of the T-Rex's leg. And so I really thought he was attaching it to the T-Rex leg.
I can only imagine what it would have been like if it had been. And it pans up, and the T-Rex is like looking down on him. He's like, "Hello,
how dare you?
Didn't know it was me, did you?
I'm going to eat you now." It also would have been really terrible. I'm glad that that's not what happened at all. Especially because, you can obviously...
Yeah. I can see what you're talking about.
Especially that shot.
Yeah.
The back of... I thought that was the T-Rex leg. It's obviously very much, obviously a tree. But to me, it just looked like... I was like, that's the T-Rex. Even though it has moss and everything on it.
It's the genetic one.
Yeah. I think I thought it just for that half second. Once you see the Dilophosaurus kind of run by the screen, I realized that it was not going to be the T-Rex. Another great animatronic.
Mm-hmm. I wish that they would do that more. Still.
I do too.
Maybe in 10, 20 years, you won't need to, but I still think...
Yes, CGI...
still need to... We still haven't passed that point yet.
I agree. 10, 20 years from now, CGI, you see how it's progressed. Although, like I said, it just depends on the movie. Sometimes, depending on your budget and whatnot, I guess, there's some bad CGI out there still.
Yeah.
But, yeah, hopefully maybe 10, 20 years from now, CGI will look that good.
Yeah.
But I don't know. It seems like everything that's made in a computer, you can always tell.
You can.
Well, not always. Sometimes they do, backgrounds and buildings and, shots and things like that. And that sometimes is...
But living creatures.
Correct. People, animals, creatures, those all, you can always tell it was done in a computer. And so I do miss the... and I understand, animatronics have a limit. You can only go so far with an animatronic. You can't really see... They can't show the Dilophosaurus walking, really. So you do it as a camera move, which I actually think is cool as well.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I understand there's limitations, but that's why I think the blending of the two, having animatronics do, the close-up shots and things like that, and then having the CGI kind of blend with it, works really well. It does in this movie anyway. I suppose you could have bad CGI, and it'd be really noticeable when you go from an animatronic to CGI, but when you're Steven Spielberg, you can do it right.
Yeah, exactly. This is... there was confusion. We were talking about if there was a second.
Yeah, and I always assumed it was the same one. He had just gotten by him.
I believe so.
But I don't know. I'm assuming when he fell down, it ran by him.
I always thought, or that first time I watched this, I was just waiting for blood to just come rushing down right there. Yeah.
But those are the embryos that are. What did he say the window was? It was a 36-hour window or something. You could keep it in that can. So those things are obviously going to be worthless.
Yeah. Now, I remember I never noticed how bad this was.
How bad the car was?
Yes, when it comes down the tree, but it's bad.
Oh, the CGI's bad?
No, it's not CGI.
Well, right, the CGI coming off the thing.
Just the tree when it's falling down the tree. It
looks bad?
Oh yeah.
All right. Well, I do remember it being okay. Like, there's one shot in particular that I really, really like where Grant braces himself to be basically killed, and the car hits a branch. And he, like, looks up and he's like, we gotta go. I remember loving that part, but
no,
but the rest of it...
It's just the way that the car falls down. It's just not natural.
Oh, okay.
It should have toppled over. And it just goes straight down the tree.
It just goes straight down. Yeah. Straight to the bottom. Rather than kind of spinning.
Right.
Yeah, that's true, I guess.
I found it interesting. He's so concerned about the fact that he threw up. That's his main concern.
He's a little kid.
Yeah. Yeah, I love his response. Yeah. He's now coming to with these kids.
Yeah. Already. I mean, I think he... I still don't think he wants like kids of his own or anything, but he obviously knows that they're in danger and he needs to protect them.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's part of the character's journey, I suppose, is to kind of be okay with it.
Especially later on when he's got them snuggled up to him in the tree when they're sleeping.
Yeah.
Trying to sleep.
He throws away the... I think that's one of the big tells. He throws away the Velociraptor claw. Doesn't need it. He's not going to tell these kids that scary story.
Right.
Music in this scene's pretty good, though.
Yeah, it is. Very intense.
Yeah, I guess it seems like it should have probably gone like this. Like, it should have gone, like, the back should have fallen over.
Yeah, exactly.
There's that shot I was talking about.
It looks like it's being lowered.
Right. That's something I never really thought about, I guess, But, and that's why it's always been okay with me, I guess, because I never really realized that that's how it should have probably fallen.
Yeah.
Especially hitting those branches like that.
Right.
It would have probably toppled. But, yeah, whatever. I'm okay with it.
See, it's
Oh, yeah, that part, yeah, for sure. Yeah,
Yeah.
you're right. It definitely looked like it was being lowered there.
It's just not hitting the branches right either.
Yeah, whatever.
Yeah, I mean that's the only scene in this movie that I can think of that does that for me.
See, that's okay. So that's where the T-Rex came out, and maybe the car fell a little bit to the left, but I still don't see how there would be such a drop.
It would have had to have been a just straight drop.
Yeah, it would have had to be just a cliff. Yeah, which doesn't make any sense. I would even take one of those raincoats with the Jurassic Park logo on it.
That's one of the... This was... They knew that they were going to be doing merchandise with this. And, I think they even showed like a lunchbox and stuff.
Yeah. No, yeah, there's that whole scene where you see like the Jurassic Park gift shop.
Right.
Yeah, and there's like plush dinosaurs and lunchboxes, and I think there's even like T-shirts or pajamas or something you see. Yeah, I mean, and this movie, I bought these toys up. I had all the figures. I don't know if I had all of them, and some of them didn't even look. They looked nothing like Alan Grant. Kind of looked like Alan Grant, and Ian Malcolm looked like Ian Malcolm. But I remember Muldoon looked like way different than he was supposed to and stuff.
I liked watching the commercials. I wanted them, and I thought it was cool how they had the JP on the side, and I was like, those are my initials.
Yeah. This is one of my favorite Ian Malcolm moments, because he sees the ripple in the water. Yeah, I don't know how they achieve that, unless it's like not, they got something under the ground or something. But his line here about how he's I'm fairly alarmed here. That's one of my favorite lines.
I did not pick up on that line until we did the podcast.
Really?
Yeah.
It's one of my favorites, man. He basically is like, I'm really scared right now.
Because, I'm focusing the whole time on, here comes the T-Rex.
Yeah. He's got the worst seat for this, too. He's just like staring at the T-Rex coming
hanging
up.
out of the back.
He's in pain. That's a great shot with that mirror.
Yeah, and the words, objects in the mirror are closer than they appear.
Even though it's technically incorrect, because that mirror is usually always on the passenger side.
Right.
And they show it on the driver's side. But that's okay. Again.
It is okay. You needed it for the shot.
Yeah. That's a great shot right there of her screaming and everything. They clocked the T-Rex at 30 miles per hour?
Yeah.
So it took them a while to kind of get above 30 miles an hour.
Yeah.
Either that or he was running faster than they clocked him at. You going to have that on the tour?
No.
That'd be hilarious if he's like, I don't hear a thing. This part, for whatever reason, always reminded me of Honey, I Shrunk the Kids.
Nice.
It's like them being in the front
grass,
lawn. Yeah.
That's fine.
I don't know why. It just kind of has like that same feeling.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, they're going up against these gigantic creatures.
Yeah. And the trees are all, and like these trees are huge and everything.
Yeah.
Just for whatever reason, they feel very small.
When did Honey, I Shrunk the Kids came out in what, 91?
Yeah, I think so. Actually, it might have been 1990.
It was close. It was close.
It was a couple years before this. Yeah. So Steven Spielberg obviously ripped that movie off.
He did. That's where he got the idea from.
Yeah, he was like, ooh, I like that. I'm going to do that. 1989, Honey, I Shrunk the Kids.
Interesting.
Yeah, 89. Must have been Honey, I Blew Up the Kid was 91 or something. That means both of them came out before Jurassic Park.
I remember I told my mom, I told my mom I wanted to see that movie.
92.
I was like, Mom, I want to see Honey, I Blew Up the Kid. And she was like, what? Because she was thinking like explosion.
Right.
And I was like, it's a sequel to Honey, I Shrunk the Kid. She's like, oh, okay.
Do you remember? I could have sworn that movie used to be called Honey, I Blew Up the Baby.
No, I don't.
Really?
Yeah.
I could have sworn, like, when that movie first started getting previews or something, it was called Honey, I Blew Up the Baby, and then they changed it to I Blew Up the Kid. But, I mean, it wouldn't make sense because it was Honey, I Shrunk the Kids.
Right.
But for some reason, that's what I thought it was. But, I mean, I know now it's Honey, I Blew Up the Kid, but I could have sworn, like, it started off as Honey, I Blew Up the Baby. But what do I know? I think we talked about this in the podcast, too, but you had those McDonald's cups.
Yes.
There was one with a Brachiosaurus on it from this scene, well, from the next scene coming up, from when they wake up. I had that one. I think there was just a couple that I didn't have. There was I think there was a Dilophosaurus Dennis Nedry cup that I didn't have.
Yeah.
And then there was a Triceratops cup that I didn't have as well. But I think I definitely had the Brachiosaurus and I had the T-Rex, because the T-Rex was the scene we just saw, it breaking out of its paddock.
Yeah. I remember the Brachiosaurus one. And man, that just I miss fast food chains doing that.
I do too. I miss those cups especially. Those collector's cups. They don't make those anymore, and maybe they're too expensive. But they used to make those all the time for certain movies. Like I remember, Taco Bell. Here's that scene we were talking about. Yeah, they do have pajamas and everything. And I did have some Jurassic Park clothes as well when I was a kid.
I might have. I can't remember.
I think I had a T-shirt or two at least. I still do, actually.
Nice.
But it's not. It wasn't from then. It's from now. What was I saying? What was I talking about?
The cups.
The cups, right. So Batman, I remember the 89 Batman, Taco Bell had cups. 92 comes around, Batman Returns McDonald's had the cups. This movie came out, McDonald's had the cups. And then Taco Bell had Batman and Robin. They had the cups for Batman and Robin. Batman Forever did those glass mugs, if you recall.
Right. And I had the Riddler and Two-Face.
I have all four of them. I think they're right here in this cabinet, actually. After we're done with the commentary, I'll pull them out and show you.
Nice.
Yeah, so the cups especially, they were just plastic cups with, usually it was like, it wasn't usually like a photograph. It was usually an artwork, like a drawing or whatever done on the cup. And unfortunately, I remember when Batman and Robin came out, those were just photographs of like the actors and stuff. And for whatever reason, I can never get the ones I wanted. I have like 3 Mr. Freezes and like one Batgirl or something. But then after I want to say like after 97, fast food chains I think kind of changed up how they were doing their cups. And like a large is, because I think a large used to be that size. It wasn't that plastic necessarily,
right?
But it was like that size. And now larges fit into a cup holder. They have those skinny bottoms with the big upper part of the cup, so that they can fit into cup holders better. And ever since they made that change in design, they stopped doing those kind of collector's cups. And I really do miss it. I really wish they would bring it back. If I was in charge, I would be like, let's bring those cups back.
Yeah.
But yeah,
it was a big part of the release.
I think McDonald's and Taco Bell and whoever else, if Burger King did it or something, they would make money because people like us would go. Like if Guardians of the Galaxy had like a cup for each character, I would go to McDonald's pretty often to try to get each cup.
Yep.
Star Trek did it with glasses back in 2009. They had
and I went and got all 4 of them.
Me too. I did too. I went to Burger King a few times to get those glasses. So I really do think it's a good idea actually for the fast food joints to do that again.
Yeah.
But I don't see them doing it. But it's a shame because I really like those like thick plastic cups. They last a long time, and they're worth paying for, I guess. But I don't know. Like I said, maybe it has to do with like licensing, and maybe it's not environmentally. But you're not. Maybe some people are going to throw them away, I guess. But like most people are going to collect them. They're going to keep them.
Yeah.
So I don't really see why if it's like environmentally not friendly or something. I don't understand what that is. It's not like it's a styrofoam cup that's going to be thrown away.
Right. I don't know what the reason is for it.
Hey, McDonald's, if you're listening to this,
one of the
when Batman vs Superman comes out or Jurassic World comes out, you should.
One of I think the big reasons was back when they did that was before the internet.
Mm-hmm.
And that was a big part of their marketing to get
for the movie.
Yeah,
for sure.
So now everyone knows about the movie, and it's not as big of a deal to the studio, I don't think, to get it out there.
That's true, and that's unfortunate. I guess I could see that it's not really worth it to the movie studio to pay the money to, do whatever they need to do with McDonald's or whatever to do it. But you still see like. Every now and again you'll still see like Guardians of the Galaxy Happy Meal toys and stuff like that.
Right.
Which I guess is more for kids just wanting toys. But you feel like that's also kind of partly marketing for a movie. You'll see like I don't know, I feel like there's got to be some sort of mutual benefit to because McDonald's can show commercials for like the McRib or whatever, and if you order a McRib, you get a collector's cup for Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yep.
Like I just feel like it's. I really don't understand why they stopped doing it.
It's something we're missing out on now.
Yeah, but I think you're right. I think you hit the nail on the head that it's about marketing. Number one, they want you to go see the movie, of course. And so with the internet now, they don't necessarily have to do these collaborations with fast food companies, which is really just. Like I said, it's just kind of a bummer.
Yeah.
It's a kind of You know,
there were, like you said, multiple movies I remember in my childhood, and just that being a part of it. It was everywhere. You know, if you went and got McDonald's, Jurassic Park was there.
Yeah,
it really helped solidify that moment. Mm-hmm. It was like a celebration.
Yeah, and like it, I feel like because you know people like you and me, we're still comic book lovers. We're still Superman, Batman fans. We still love all these different superheroes. So, granted, McDonald's is not necessarily the healthiest food to eat for you and your family, but if you are going to go to McDonald's, you can get like a Happy Meal for your kids. They get a Batman toy. And then you can get like the number 3 large, and you get a Batman cup. It's like,
which is awesome,
right? Everybody's happy. Yeah. So I really, they're missing out. They're really missing out. I really feel like I eat fast food too much as it is, but I would go more often if they brought those cups back. Mm-hmm. Absolutely, I would. I would even pay a little more because, like, right now, McDonald's has. I didn't mean for this commentary to turn into a McDonald's advertisement, but McDonald's has the $1 any size drink,
right?
So you can pay $1 and get a large drink,
right?
Well, if those cups were around and they were like $3, I would pay $3 to get the cup rather than $1 for Coke or whatever.
Absolutely. Do it, McDonald's.
Come on, McDonald's, you're killing me, man. You're killing me.
We got Dr. Malcolm here posing with the...
Yeah, that was always kind of a weird shot. It's like the Burt Reynolds pose or something.
You need like a tiger in the background or something.
Uh-huh. But we did just find out in the movie that life has found a way. And they're already breeding.
That's right. There's those red lights again.
What eggs were those? Were those Velociraptor eggs? Those Velociraptors haven't gotten out yet. So it couldn't have been Velociraptor eggs.
Well,
I always assumed it was Velociraptor eggs, but now that I'm thinking about it,
I think they were inside a
like a habitat.
Yeah,
but it wasn't the Velociraptor habitat because the Velociraptors are only in that one little cage, and those, as of right now, the electricity is still
right. That's
on.
right. Yeah, you're right.
Because it's not until Arnold goes and shuts it down that those Velociraptors get out. So I'm wondering what...
I think I always assumed they were Velociraptor.
I did too. Yeah, but I wonder what dinosaur it was. He doesn't say, does he? I'm wondering if he said it was a Velociraptor, because then there's a plot hole.
No, I don't think he did. And they didn't look like him.
There's a dinosaur in the book that's not in the movie. I don't think it was those dinosaurs because I feel like the eggs might be too big for them. But you remember Compies? Compies it's like Compiosaurus or something like that. But they call them Compies. It was the little dinosaurs.
That were in the second movie?
Yeah.
Gotcha.
They're in the first book. And they're actually, well, I don't know if they kill a character in the book that survives in the movie. I don't want to say who, just in case somebody's wanting to read the book out there. But I always thought maybe that was like some, or I didn't always think, but I wonder if those eggs maybe were kind of a nod to the Compies or something. I don't know though. I think the Compies are on the ride. I think.
Oh yeah, they are.
They are fighting over a popcorn box, right?
Yeah. Yep. That's right.
I like how the Dilophosaurus on the ride spit water at you, when you're going by.
Right.
This is another pretty iconic scene.
Yeah.
Which, no animatronics in this one. This is all CGI.
Yeah.
And I haven't... As far as I remember, I think it looks pretty good. We'll have to see when they're running with them, but...
Right, it's about on the level at the beginning.
The Brachiosaurus. Yeah. So it's still above par, but you can kind of see. I mean, you have to give the movie credit. It's 21 years old, so
yeah.
the effects are still amazing.
Yeah,
but but they're noticeable now more so than they were then.
Right, and like we said, this was really one of the first, if not the first movie to really do this.
Yeah. It's interesting for us because we experienced it as kids. And so we were relatively new to the movie-going experience, And so I remember this movie really, we've said it before and it kind of sounds cheesy, but this really kind of opened our eyes to the magic of movies.
Oh, yeah.
But I wonder how many adults experience the same thing, because CG wasn't really used. I mean, I guess Star Wars had, some CG and whatnot, as much as they could back then. But I wonder if this movie kind of did the same thing for any adults.
Right. I think this was... I would suspect that this kind of had the same effect that Star Wars did on a lot of people.
I wouldn't be surprised. If I had been... And I think even if I had been a teenager and saw this movie, I think I would have loved it just as much as I did as a kid.
Yeah.
And it's too bad we didn't really get to experience Star Wars in the theater,
Mm-hmm.
That was before our time, but I imagine we would have had... the same kind of reaction, I think, to that as we did to this. Another great Malcolm line. Why is it that park rangers, slash people like Muldoon, always wear really short shorts?
See, I think that's one of the things that I just kind of threw in as a category of him being
Australian. Yeah, it's usually like an Australian type outback kind of thing. I don't know why
they can maneuver their legs better.
I guess maybe they can crouch down easier or something. I just always thought it was kind of funny. He always wore like pretty short shorts for a dude, and then he had like the long socks and the boots.
The boots, yep. I mean, he fits he's got the attire.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't make fun of him. He definitely seems like he could kick my butt, but another great Spielberg shot. I like how he kind of stayed behind and then focused on the walkie-talkie like that. The staging is pretty good. It's Spielberg.
Yeah. I was looking at his shorts when he was walking out of there. Did you notice? Did you see how his thigh muscles?
No, they're extreme,
huge. They're like Wolverine.
So I said I wouldn't make fun of him for
it.
Right.
Right.
He could probably kick me and knock my head off, but the Velociraptors got out. That's no good.
I really like this scene.
The shot and everything, yeah.
Well, you can see the fear when he's talking about the raptors.
He also, I feel like that's very, and I don't know why. I don't know why I'm getting this. I don't know, I don't feel like I have any basis for thinking this, but I feel like that hat is also very Australian, outbackish as well. Yeah, it's like pinned up on one side. And I don't know why. I feel like I'm basing that all off The Rescuers Down Under. Remember that movie?
Oh yeah. But see, that's what I'm saying. Like there's a certain, style.
Yeah.
And they kind of, I think they were going for that.
I think so too. Yeah.
I mean, he's a hunter. I think I'm pretty sure that's what they were going for.
I always thought that was a little... I like Laura Dern in this movie. I think she does a great job, but that's the one moment where I think she does... It's like...
The running?
No, it's when she kind of frustratedly kind of hits the tree like it got in her way. I don't buy it.
I gotcha.
But everything else I think she's great in.
There's some backlighting.
Yep. I think I noticed some earlier, too, with John Hammond.
It's a good effect.
It is good, and it really works in this movie.
It's eerie.
Bickering like they're An old married couple. They shot this, I want to say it was in, like, Hawaii.
Yeah, I think so.
And I've never been to Hawaii, unfortunately, but, man, that's a really pretty, like, landscape.
I fortunately have been to Hawaii, and it's amazing.
Yeah, I imagine. Hopefully one of these days I can... My sister got to go to Hawaii a few years ago, and she said the same thing. So
I would recommend, if you get to your later years of life, and you have to spend all the rest of your money, just do it.
Right.
Just to go.
I always like that part. Again, he's warming up to the kids, He's like, knows how to mess with them and everything now.
Such a jerk.
Yeah. I love that Timmy thinks it's great. She's like kind of mad at him.
Yeah.
Because that is very, I feel like that's something, like if my dad had played a little prank on me and my sister, that's exactly how my sister would have reacted, and it's exactly how I would have reacted.
Right.
I'd have been like, that's great.
But would your dad have done that after people were being eaten by dinosaurs?
Probably not. I would hope not. That's true. Alan Grant has
he's a weird sense of humor.
You're like, is now really the best time to be playing pranks on the kids? Really? If Ellie had been there, she would have given him an earful.
He's like their lifeline. I mean, they're trying to get back. They're almost there, and they lose Alan Grant to an electric fence.
Oh, man, that would be terrible. I remember... So the first time I saw this movie, I saw it with my brother and, like, a neighborhood friend of ours. And I don't know, maybe his mom or dad was there. I can't remember. But I remember seeing this movie for the first time with my mom. And she jumped about a mile out of her seat when the Velociraptor shows up in that scene with Ellie. I'll point out the scene I'm talking about. Because it is like, it's not a jump scare to us anymore because we've seen it so many times. But when you first see this movie for the very first time, when the Velociraptor pokes its head out and the music kind of goes dun and everything like that, my mom, she was like, she jumped pretty high. My mom's not a big fan of jump scares.
Nice.
This is one of the things that I guess because if it was me, I feel like if it was me, I would have started booking it at that point. But maybe he's kind of scared of heights, and that's why he didn't want to move. But like when I heard that, I'd have been like,
yep, jump off.
Yeah, and just been moving. But he, for whatever reason, got stuck.
I like how it's the last button.
Right, of course it is.
Yeah, I don't understand his logic here. He's like, you crazy? I'm not going to jump. Yes,
yeah.
yes.
You need to, or you will die. I feel like this is also not accurate. Well, what happened? I don't think it would shoot him off like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Unfortunately, but it's still again acceptable.
It's not bad. It's not too bad.
I liked Ariana Richards acting in this too. She's, again, I had a crush on her when I was a kid, but I thought she did a really good job of like crying over this part right here. That made my mom jump so much.
Oh wow! Yeah, I'm pretty sure the first time I saw that, I
made you jump. Yeah, when you don't know it's coming.
And then the arm.
Yeah, right here.
Mr. Arnold?
That probably made my mom jump again, It's great. I, for a long time, never understood why she was limping, but I guess it was...
I think she...
hurt her leg, like, falling down
something.
or
pulled it.
Pushing the door closed with her feet. Oh, my... This scene is...
classic.
Yeah. kind of backlighting.
Yeah, it is. It's the sound effects.
But this is like the perfect payoff for what Alan Grant was describing in the beginning.
Yeah.
It's one of those. There's a
sneaking around.
Yeah, there's like a playwright rule. I can't remember what it's called, but it's somebody's gun, and it's like if you show the gun in the first act, you better use it by the third act type thing, you know. And so it's kind of one of those things. Like he told us about this scene, so it's like we need to see it by the end of the movie type of thing. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. I closed my eyes for this scene too, which obviously I didn't need to because it's covered up by the leaves, which is, again, great staging. And then that shot of that Velociraptor just totally hanging out, watching it all happen.
Yep. Just makes me smile. This is so well done. Mm-hmm. No time.
Oh, Tim.
Jokester to the end.
So this is the crazy part. They think they're back at the welcome center.
Right,
they're like, we're home free, finally. Oh, finally. And nobody's even there.
Yeah, he's like, you guys just hang out here. I'm going to go find everyone. Man, he looks rough.
Rough. This is something else I obviously didn't question it as a kid, but something as I got older never quite understood. Everybody left. I guess it's because everybody left in such a hurry because of the storm. Mm-hmm. But who is this food for?
Right.
Why is there such a buffet of deliciousness here for nobody if everybody was going to leave? Because I thought they knew the storm was coming, so I thought everybody knew they were going to have to leave at a certain point.
Right, so put it in the refrigerators.
Right. Don't leave it out. What terrible restaurant employees.
They're obviously not getting rehired.
And John Hammond was actually eating the ice cream because it was melting, right?
That's right.
So this food can't be that good. It's been sitting out for a few days, right?
Well,
I mean, they haven't eaten in a while, so maybe they're pretty hungry, so it doesn't matter. Yeah. But they haven't eaten in a day, I guess. But
this is
the
great.
cello. And then that is just perfect. How the Velociraptor shows up.
I clearly remember seeing that in the theater for the first time, and just. But I think when I saw it as a kid, for some reason the Velociraptor fit into the.
I think it's weird how our memory kind of does that.
Yeah.
Because I feel like it's it didn't unless they changed it, which I can't imagine they did.
Yeah.
But your brain just feels like it saw it that way. You just kind of remember it that way, even though it's not correct.
Loved the nostril breathe.
Yeah,
just gives it life.
Mm-hmm. Dennis Nedry's sound effects there.
Yeah. Yeah, that's not
and perfect. The suspense in this scene, I think, is top notch. We've had so many suspenseful scenes already, and then to see the Velociraptors in this scene in the kitchen with these kids, and these kids have nowhere to hide, from these really large, monsters.
What's interesting about the Velociraptors are that they are large, but they're not. They're not the T-Rex,
right?
But they're just as terrifying, if not more, because they're super quick, they're super clever. The sounds
they make, I definitely wouldn't want to see a Velociraptor up close, face to face. I think they took some creative license with the Velociraptors as well. I believe Velociraptors in real life were not that big. I think they were.
I think they were more like. Yeah, I think you're right.
I think they were. I can't. Were they like chicken size, or was it bigger than that?
I think they were bigger, but like maybe the size of medium dogs.
Yeah. So they kind of
Yeah, because I think
extra
in the
large.
movie, I remember, reading that they were like 6 feet tall.
Yeah, that's exactly what I remember. The Jurassic Park trading cards. I'm sure you had the Jurassic Park trading cards.
I'm pretty sure I had some of those.
Remember the holographic ones you had that like you
yes.
turned them and man, I wish I still had those. You got them somewhere, I'm sure. So originally, I think the way this scene was going to be played out was with stop motion animation.
Ooh.
Kind of like Jason and the Argonauts type stuff, Ray Harryhausen type things, which would not have looked good at all.
Yeah, I don't think so.
There's a test. I want to say there's like test footage of it on the DVD, like special features, and they do a pretty good job of creating this whole scene with using the stop motion, but stop motion looks like stop motion.
Right.
You can kind of tell. And so I'm really glad they went the opposite way with it, with half animatronic, half CGI.
Yeah. This scene right here scared me to death the first time.
It's perfect. It's amazing. She's pretty, lucky she didn't get her face scratched right there by his swinging leg.
Yeah.
Timmy is a genius here. In the book,
yeah, just go abandon your sister.
Yeah, where is she, by the way? In the book, Lexi is actually the younger one, and Timmy's the older one.
Okay.
So they switched it around, and I don't know if... I actually kind of feel like it was Steven Spielberg's idea, because... A little trivia for you. Joseph Mazzello actually auditioned for Hook. He auditioned for, I think it was Charlie. Was that the name of his son in Hook?
No.
Charlie
Jack.
Jack. That's right. Charlie Corsmo got the part. So he auditioned for Jack in Hook, and Steven Spielberg actually told him, which I think Joseph Mazzello really won out here, even though I love Hook. He's told him that he was really good, but he wasn't the right kid for Hook. And he goes, but whatever my next movie is, I'll put you in it. Supposedly, that's kind of how it went.
What a deal. I mean, I love Hook, but come on.
But Jurassic Park, I mean, come on. So I do kind of wonder if maybe when the original script was written, it was written the way that it was in the book, with Timmy being the older one and Lexi being the younger one. And Steven Spielberg was like, look, I know this kid who could be great in it as Timmy. We should switch around the ages or whatever. I don't know if that's how it went down or not, but...
It's interesting.
I think it was, and so I think Timmy was the hacker in the original in the book, because Lexi was just too. I think she was even younger than Timmy's character in this movie. I think she was like real young. This is sweet technology right here.
It was back then. I remember.
Yeah, that's true. Back then it was pretty cool, but now it is ridiculous. It kind of looks Tron-esque, where it's like a city. The computer has its like own city.
I remember though having like computer programs like that when this movie was out and being like, it's like Jurassic Park.
Yeah. Independence Day toys, which Independence Day was what, 96?
Yeah.
Independence Day toys came with floppy disks, and you could play like little Independence Day games on your computer with the floppy disk. I remember thinking that was really cool.
If I had known that, I probably would have gotten some. The coincidence here. Man, if that door had been opened when that door locked, they would have been done.
That's true. I like how hacking in this movie, even though she wasn't really hacking, was done properly with a mouse rather than like typical hacking in movies where it's just typing away at a keyboard. I've always loved this scene where you hear it over the phone.
Oh, yeah.
You get it from John Hammond's perspective.
Perfect.
Yeah, it's amazing. This Spielberg guy, he's going to go far.
I love Steven Spielberg.
This might be a bit of trivia that you know, but there's coming up when Lex falls through. Mm-hmm. That was obviously a stunt woman.
Okay.
But she looks up. You'll notice she looks up, and it looks like Ariana Richards, right? Well, this had to be one of the first times they ever did this. But they basically just face replaced the stunt double with Ariana Richards' face. So, like, right here, that's a stunt woman, but then, she looks up.
Oh.
So, that was CG.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. Which I always thought was interesting.
Yeah.
Apparently, because this movie and Schindler's List were put out in the same year, he handed over post-production duties on this film to George Lucas.
Huh.
So, and George Lucas being the, kind of CGI tech person that he is, obviously did a good job overseeing it. But I think that was one of the things that his people had to kind of do was replace the face of the stunt double there.
Very creative scene right here, using the dinosaur bones to get down.
It's a very well-written movie. I mean, it's got, it has its plot holes probably like any other kind of movie, with the whole, like, the T-Rex paddock being flat and then suddenly being
But this stuff's
deep.
so minor.
Right, exactly.
I mean, a lot of movies, they're not minor. They stick out like sore thumbs.
Right.
These are very subtle.
I always like that, even though it breaks, because it's something it's like something you've seen before, like in cartoons and stuff, and then suddenly it's in this kind of serious action movie. And this, I remember seeing this and was like, how are they going to get out of this? I had no idea. I thought they were done.
The hands go up. He's getting ready to pounce.
Yep. And you're just screwed.
Here he goes.
And again, this is something that doesn't quite make sense. Like, how did the T-Rex kind of come in unnoticed?
He's the door.
But it's the perfect ending. Mm-hmm. Like, it is the most satisfying way to end this film, with having the T-Rex come in and save the day, basically.
And pick the dinosaur over the people.
Right. Well, the people were fairly still. I mean, they were moving a little bit, but they were fairly still.
True.
Even though the Velociraptor also was kind of moving slowly, but still, it was moving.
Love those lines.
Right.
I've decided not to endorse your park.
So have I. And then some people might think this shot right here is cheesy with the falling banner, but I think this is like
it had to be
perfect shot.
It's amazing when dinosaurs ruled the earth. It's like a picture perfect moment.
InGen. That's one weekend they'll never forget.
They might.
I feel bad for Hammond here. He's looking out. Everything he's put into it.
I never really thought about that. Yeah, you're right. I think
his dream is basically
it is,
being
but
crushed.
at the same time, when Alan grabs him, you can kind of see that relief of my grandkids are alive.
They're
and
safe,
we're getting
right.
out of here.
And Alan Grant has both kids on him, but they feel safe with him.
Mm-hmm.
And, I'd probably be the same way if I was one of those kids.
Look at Sadler. She's like, and I found it interesting they did not get together.
Yeah, that was something that always kind of bummed me out. Which they're not in the second movie, but when you see him in the third, they're like she's married to somebody else and has like a kid.
Yeah,
and I always thought that was kind of a bummer. I don't really like the third movie that much.
I don't either.
And so, in my brain, they got together.
Yeah.
It was a happy ending. And then the shot of the, I guess, modern day dinosaurs.
But there's the dinosaurs.
Yeah.
He's like, I like them better.
Again, perfect John Williams score. Can't really talk enough. I mean, I can talk. I mean, basically, it would just be me saying how great it is over and over again. But the score to this movie really is like some of the best movie music I think I can think of.
It's John Williams, everything he does, but this one in particular.
And I think it's partially. I think we're kind of biased because this movie is so kind of special to us. Mm-hmm. And I'm sure, like, people who were our age when Star Wars came out probably hold the Star Wars music in the same regard as we hold this music. I mean, the Star Wars music is amazing as well. But this one, for whatever reason, it's just, like...
Right.
It just kind of, warms my heart.
Yep.
to hear it.
It's just... It's one of those things.
Yeah.
Well, there's Jurassic Park.
That's Jurassic Park. That's our first commentary episode for superheroes movies and superhero movies. Personally, I had a great time.
Yeah.
I think it's a lot of fun. I think as long as we have enough to talk about for other movies, I'd totally be down to do this again.
Okay. Yeah, let us know what you thought.
Yeah, please do. Let us, leave us a comment. Throw us a line on Twitter or Facebook. Let us know if you liked it. And if you did, we'll try to do another one. And give us a movie idea.
Sounds good.
Yeah, I can't really think of anything else to say. Thanks for watching Jurassic Park with us. That was a lot of fun.
Favorite movie of all time.
Of all time. Favorite movie of all time for both of us. So, always glad to watch Jurassic Park and be able to talk about it. So yeah, I guess that wraps it up.
Thanks.
I'm Justin Speck.
I'm John Pelzel.
Thanks for listening. Thanks for downloading.